Let's have a look at your project which you have created. Let's understand the default template. So this is the project which we have created. So let's talk about the package.json first. So these are the dependencies and these are the dev dependencies. Dev dependencies are used for the personalization, generally for like managing your code, ESLint, testing your code, prettier, TypeScript, platform related dev dependencies, runtime optimizations, babels, transpilers, compilers. So all of these are mentioned in the dev dependencies. Here engine, now it is the limit. Here it is saying Node.js must be greater than the Node 18. It is the limit now. Here you mention your version and the name of your project. So let's talk about the different dependency managers which downloads it from your internet and which manages there. So when we create the default template, it come up with the npm, which is a default package manager, and there are other dependency managers or package managers generally, that is yarn and the pnpm. With the help of the npm we can download and we can install yarn and the pnpm, which generally comes explicitly. So let's talk about the performance and the dependency management system, which one is the best. So I would suggest to all the developers to switch to the pnpm. Pnpm is the best dependency manager, package manager, which has great performance that will help you to save your ssd, because npm and the yarn, that is killing your ssd. I will tell you how they are killing your ssd. Suppose you have 100 projects using npm, then you must be managing the 100 copies of the dependencies isolatedly in your machine. That will occupy a lot of space. That space is stored in the ssd. Your projects are stored in the ssd. So with the help of the pnpm, what it does, it saves all of your dependencies, common dependencies, and almost all the dependencies in a global shareable space, global store generally in your machine. Suppose there are 100 projects, so there will be one global store, one copy only. So you will be having access from these dependencies through the references in your projects. You don't have to download the duplicate dependencies isolatedly like the npm. That is what pnpm is providing. That is helping to save your ssd, increasing your performance and the optimizations. If you can see the speed of the pnpm, it is very fast as compared to the yarn and the pnpm. Yeah, yarn is better than the npm, but pnpm is almost best than the yarn and the npm. I would suggest to all the developers switch to the pnpm quickly. So these are three dependency or package managers which are available in JavaScript. So npm packages dependencies are used in the Node project in backend development and front-end development. Those are managed by these three dependency packages. Similarly, let's talk about the package managers available in the native sites. In the Android folder, in the app folder, if you see, there is a Gradle file. In the Gradle file, at the last, let's go to the Gradle file in the Android. This is the Gradle file in your app folder. Here you have seen the implementation keyword. It is saying these are the dependencies. How these dependencies are managed? So Gradle and the Maven, these are the two dependency managers available in your Android. They have their global, like Maven hub or Gradle store on the internet. They store it there, they manage it there. When there is a requirement in the project, you download it through the Android Studio, or you can directly implement it here. You can sync your project in the Android Studio, or when you run the command npx reignite to run Android or run iOS. We are talking about the Android, so you can download all of these dependencies here. So earlier we were using a keyword compile. Now we are using implementation. So compile was used with the older version of the Gradle, around 3.4 something. It is replaced with the implementation. Implement is having greater performance than the compile. it only compiles your package, your module, or the dependencies when there is a demand in the build process only. Its compilation at the compile time at the runtime, it only does as was the demand, as per the demand. But the with the compile keyword, it was issue actually. It was not doing like that with the like the implementation. No, it was not doing on the demand. That's why implementation has the greater performance than the compile keyword. That's why it is replaced with the implementation. So I hope you have understood that there are two dependency package managers, Maven and the Gradle in the Android, which will help us to create the SDKs, plugins, libraries, and we mention our jar files here and the dependencies. So all of these are managed by these dependency package managers like Gradle. Now let's talk about the Gradle. Gradle uses Groovy language with the Java, and with Kotlin it uses Kotlin DSL build scripts. These build scripts helps us to making builds, creating builds, launching it to the UI generally on your phone. So let's talk about the iOS folder as well, and the dependency package managers available in your iOS. So in the iOS we have the pod file. In the pod file you can see we have the dependencies written there, and the configuration environment as well, and your React Native path, and we also have other system required setup. So in the iOS we have the Cocoapod, that is most popular dependency manager, package manager in iOS. Similarly we also have Swift package manager, and we also have Carthage. Actually there are a lot of package managers available in iOS, but these are the three most popular package managers available, which helps us to download the dependency, manage our dependencies, optimize your dependencies. That helps us to increase your performance. So we must know about the Cocoapods specifically, that is used with the React Native. It downloads all the pods and saves in the pod file, and it logs in the pod. So when we are using Cocoapods, Cocoapods generate the default template in your iOS. It generate all the default files like Xc workspace, Xc workspace, and the Xcode pros. Let's understand the difference between them. Xcode pros is used to manage your settings, configurations, and it is used in the build process, creating IPA files. But X workspace, that helps when you are opening your project in the Xcode. It is very important, you must open the Xc workspace for the development. We will talk about other stuffs. There are a lot of things. We will talk about the main file in your interview prep. We will talk about the storyboard. We will talk about the input.plist and delegates, C++5 C files, and we will understand all of this later on. But first here let's quickly create the custom hooks, because it is very important. If you are going for an interview, they will ask you everything. They will ask you about what is the role of this file, what are the default folders available in your project. So that's why we need to understand all of this. If you want to become a master of masters in the React Native, if you want, I will come with the some advanced learnings. So let's implement the custom hooks, then we will go one by one in the upcoming videos.